Liz Everett, Global Head of Corporate Access, Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Thank you for coming over to Bloomberg to talk about corporate access.
Thanks for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Really want to find out what you're seeing in terms of trends and changes in the field you focus on, corporate access.
Well, corporate access is becoming increasingly important. We hear from our investor client base all the time, increasingly important and increasingly competitive. And for our corporate clients, they're asking, and they're also focusing on this as it's a resource that they need to continue to use more efficiently. So one of the things that we're looking at is ways that we can increase the quality of interactions between investor clients and corporates. And we are doing that in a number of different ways, but focus on quality is key. One of the other things we're seeing in terms of shifts is a morph in these interactions from broad education, kind of 30,000-foot education of the corporates or by the corporates of the investors, to investors who are a lot more educated about the corporates, and so they're really digging into more detail. And we're seeing certainly a shift in that interaction.
Along with this, are we seeing a shift then to more focused, thematic, smaller, more intimate events?
I think we're actually seeing more of a barbell approach. There's definitely still value in the large, broad sector conferences. And one of the reasons for that is as the corporates have more and more demands on their time, they need to be efficient with that scarce resource of time in terms of allocating it. So there's an advantage to participating in these large, broad sector conferences where they can meet a lot of investors in one place. But on the other hand, we're seeing over the last year or two, we've seen very positive reaction, both from investors and from corporates, from smaller, more intimate gatherings that are focused on either themes or really tight sector trend conferences with maybe only a handful of corporates and only a handful of investors. And one of the reasons I think people really value that is because it allows for tighter connections, tighter relationships. It gets back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of the investor clients are a lot more educated. They don't just need the basic, they want to dig in. And they're able to do that in these smaller, intimate conferences or gatherings.
One of the things we see is a slight uptick in the number of non-deal roadshows. All right,
Yes.
So moving on from conferences, do you perceive that? Are companies actually busier in terms of non-deal roadshows?
I think we feel busier in terms of non-deal roadshows. We certainly do. And I think part of that is if you look at some of the different products, we'll call it corporate access products, so conferences, non-deal roadshows, field trips, whatever it might be, each of them serve a different purpose. I think the non-deal roadshow is helpful to getting out and sometimes traveling the country, being able to tell their story and meet investors in a more intimate, less rushed setting. So we definitely are seeing more of that.